The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, and welcome to Aging Horizons. On today's show, we'll be talking about the National Alliance on Mental Health, or NAMI. We'll have the executive director on the show today, and we'll be talking about mental health, particularly as it focuses on seniors as they get older. The organization has a wealth of information, resources, and referral, and we'll talk about that and so much more. Stay tuned.
Hey, caregivers, did you know that respite time is your time? How will you spend it?
There's so much I want to do, like researching family history.
Sandra Gaskin, Bozeman.
And this time of year, there's never enough time to keep up with my garden. But what I really love to do with my respite time is to work on my latest quilting project.
Montana Lifespan Respite. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
It's so fulfilling when all the pieces come together.
45 years, 2 packs a day. It's like $80,000. I thought I was just hurting myself until I fell asleep in a chair with a cigarette. The whole house went up. I lost it all. I knew smoking was expensive, but I never thought it would cost me everything.
You mean I can get help paying my prescription drug premiums?
Let me get this straight. I could be eligible for help with my family's prescription premiums even though I own my own home?
And our assets won't be counted.
If you're a Montana resident enrolled in the Medicare prescription drug program, you could be eligible for help paying your premiums. Call or visit the Big Sky RX website today to find out, even if you think you're over income.
What do you know about that? I'm eligible.
Montana's veterans answered the call. Now our veteran service officers are here to answer theirs. Whether it's filing a claim, accessing healthcare, or navigating earned benefits, you're not alone. Our VSOs provide expert guidance at absolutely no cost to you. You served our nation. Let us serve you. Visit your local VSO today. Call 406-324-3742 or visit veterans.mt.gov. Montana serving veterans.
Hi folks, welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services, Senior and Long-Term Care Division, Aging Services. I'm your host, Brian Lamore. And I mentioned we'll be talking about NAMI, mental health for individuals, how we have a local organization that is part of a national organization. Joining us today is the Executive Director, Matt Kuntz, and welcome to the show. It's nice to have you here.
Thanks so much, Brian. I'm really happy to be here.
Great. Now we've heard the word NAMI, maybe, been brandished about, maybe advertised. Can you tell us what NAMI is? How did it originate and how does it address an issue?
Yeah, so NAMI is a group dedicated to improving the lives of people who live with mental health conditions and their families. We use support, education, and advocacy. Started with a group of moms in the middle of the country back in the 70s, and their kids had schizophrenia. At the time, they were being blamed for their kids' schizophrenia. It was called schizophrenogenic mothering, and they just blamed these parents, and the moms in particular. And the moms realized, you know, I have 3 kids. If I was that bad of a parent, they'd all have it, you know? And then they also realized, you know, for our families, we have this going through our lines. And so they were thinking genetics and a lot of that before anybody else. So that was where we started, a very real organization designed to help people get the basics of what they need and help them all along their journey, especially as families.
Yeah, and what you just mentioned, I was thinking there needs to be research. You probably are influential in getting research going.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate, especially with NAMI in Montana. About 2014, we really committed to research, and we partnered with Montana State, and and have done a bunch of partnerships since then. We work with Johns Hopkins, we work with Stanford, you know, kind of honored to be teamed up with a lot of the best in the country, because I think we kind of uniquely have said our families have a unique vision, have a unique voice, and especially for rural America. Yeah. And it turns out that the researchers felt the same thing, and we figured out how to work together, and we do really well with policy, and a lot of the researchers rely on policy to get their treatments out there and stuff like that, but they don't know how to have the conversations.
How to do that, how to start it going. So now, mental health is many times referenced in the youth. You know, that you're talking about it, you're probably talking about a younger person, but older people have issues too. And do they have them lifelong, or do they have some mental issues that develop as they become seniors?
Yeah, you know, it's really a great question. I think of it as, you know, mental health is brain health. And just like any other part of your body, your ankles might go out when you're 18, they might go out when you're 70. You know, your chances of having them go out when you're 70 is probably higher, because you have all those years of wear and tear. So people can develop mental health conditions when they're younger, and have them be lifelong. We do see some people that develop mental health conditions later on, and then eventually, you know, as some folks age, they transition into dementia, which for us, it gets treated by a lot of the psychiatric medications that other people use throughout their life. You know, there's peer coaching, there's family coaching, so it kind of blends together. You know, like St. Peter's Hospital in Helena will care for you if you have a dementia crisis or if you have a mental health crisis in roughly the same place, you know, that so but it is a little bit different depending, but a lot of it is the same system. So we try to serve families along the way.
Yeah, you know, I'm wondering, as you get older, become a senior, is depression part of the mental illness process, I guess, and what you help to address?
Absolutely. Depression's really key. And it's interesting because we think about it in terms of biological susceptibility and environmental factors. And you have these good environmental factors that help you manage your brain health, help your brain do the best it can be. And then you have challenges and traumas and
life.
Vocational changes, family changes, and those are all things that might make it more likely for you to get depression.
Oh, that's interesting. So you've helped to put together resources. So I imagine if someone has a family member or they suspect someone is having some mental issues, they can call you, and then you get the call. What happens after that?
You know, it really depends on what the call is. We have families that are like, hey, I have this need right now. And either we'll give them some guidance, if possible, about where to go, give them the resources, or a lot of times we'll just say, you need to come to the support group. We have free support groups, and a lot of these things don't go away quickly. So if you have an issue with a kid or grandkid or a spouse or yourself, sign up for, join the free support group and check in once a month, check in twice a month. And let us be there on the journey with you.
And I know I've talked with other people with other organizations. There's a lot of support groups out there, and they're so important. You're not crazy. Other people have gone through that, and here's some tips, maybe some tricks that you can consider, and it helps making decisions and helping that loved one out.
Yeah, I know when I came into NAMI, I lost my stepbrother to PTSD, and I had a lot of emotions and a lot of everything around that, and thought we were very unique and very special. There was nobody that went through, and then I got down to our family-to-family class, and I was with all these families who also had loved ones with mental health conditions. And boy, at 3 o'clock in the morning when you're in a crisis, or this or that, it all looks the same, So, and it was nice to see, like, boy, these are really nice, good people. They didn't do anything wrong. This is just part of being human is having a brain, and sometimes we have challenges with those brains.
There's not a lot that's new under the sun, but it's new to us. And I've always been friends, family members, or close people to them pass away. I go get some counseling. It'll help you. Now, Matt, we've drawn to a close on the show so quickly, and for our audience, stay tuned. We got a lot more great information about NAMI and how it can serve you right here in Montana, whatever town you're in. We'll be right back.
When I found out it was diabetes, my first thought was, Barb, you need help. You have to take control of this. There is help. My doctor gave me a phone number. I called and signed up with a diabetes educator. There is help. I have to put blinders on when I walk past the bakery counter. I can feel my blood sugar go up. You succeed a little at a time. If you have diabetes, help is available. You do not have to do it alone.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Hey, caregivers, did you know that respite time is your time? How will you spend it?
20-year-old twins with special needs takes a lot of wrangling. So sometimes a trip to the grocery store without having to worry about the boys can feel like a mini vacation.
Tori Allard, Billings.
We also own a DJ company, and there's always something going on there that needs attention.
Montana Lifespan Respite. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
The small things in life can make a huge difference. Thank you, Respite Care.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons. I'm your host Brian Lamore, and we're continuing our discussion about NAMI, where they offer mental health resources throughout the state of Montana. Rejoining us is Matt Kuntz, you're the executive officer there. And you know, with seniors, we have senior centers because it's so important that seniors have some social interactions. And many times they wind up staying at home, and I guess that starts the beginnings of maybe some mental health issues. Yeah. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, you know, as we talked about the environmental factors, and a big environmental factor is how you're engaging with people, and that you're engaging, that you have things that you're excited about, that you have a reason to wake up and do this, you know, whether it's volunteering somewhere, going to see your friends, playing cribbage, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But engaging with people, your brain needs that.
Yes.
Just like your brain needs a lot of different ways to trigger it and get those neurons working in a positive way. So it is one thing that we say with seniors is go to the senior center right away, and as soon as you do start to feel that isolation, if your life is being, you know, kind of channeled into this or that, go there and be involved with it. And you might start out at the beginning as being someone that helps out at the senior center, and then transition into, hey, maybe I'm not feeling quite as helpful today as I was 3 years ago. But either way, get there and be engaged, because it is an essential part of maintaining your mental health, is maintaining relationships with people that have interests and finding new relationships as your world changes and the people around you change.
And getting along with them. I know as I become a senior that, and I look at older people that I know, people start dying around them. And they're running out of friends. And there's not a lot of activities for seniors to go out and make new friends. But you got to get out and start talking to people. And they have a lot of fun activities at the senior centers too.
Yeah.
So I'd really encourage people to look that up and go ahead and go and have a lunch there. That's a great way to break the ice.
And people know what you're going through. People care, like the same set of challenges, the same, kid don't talk to you as much as you want to anymore. Grandkids are out of control, it's not new to the people around that table.
Right.
Even though it feels like you're the most unique, special flower in the world. Go hang out with some people that are in the same boat.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel better.
And their support groups. Now, I know NAMI offers family-to-family programs. What is a family-to-family program, and why is it important?
Yeah, it's an eight-week course, and it helps you understand how to support your family member with a mental health condition. Like the best thing we can do, as a society is for people with mental health conditions, train their family members in what's really going on and what helps them.
Yeah.
And because it is non-instinctive, like how you care for your loved ones without a mental health condition is probably going to vary somebody. For me, when I have a loved one struggling, they might start self-isolating.
Yeah.
And it's not in a way that someone without a mental health condition, like that person's getting busy, this person's separating because of their depression, because of their anxiety.
Yeah.
And how do you think about it? How do you process it? How do you set a plan to engage with them? Like I've had parents with their family members. I just said, you're going to set something on your calendar, on your phone, where you're going to reach out to that kid once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Whether they want you to or not, that your phone's going to ding and you're going to send them a goofy message.
Yeah.
You're going to ask them what they're up to this weekend because they're isolating, but you don't let the depression separate you. Those kind of little tactics.
Yeah.
That allow you to be a little bit better. Or for me, like I had a loved one after I took the family-to-family go into a suicide mental health crisis, and I knew when to go, where to go, who to call, and I saved that person's life. And it wasn't anything that dramatic that I did. I was like, oh, hey, now I go to the ER. Because you don't know when is the right time or when to call 988. It's nice to get that with folks.
Do that. And it sounds like you're discussing communication. How do we communicate with these individuals? Because I'll say the structure of your communication and interaction has broken down.
Yeah. Well, and it's complicated because you have, the brain, neurons in your brain are firing in different ways. And we say, if somebody has schizophrenia, somebody has depression, bipolar disorder, it's anxiety, it's going to be hard for them to process what you're thinking. And often we'll just say, shorten it, tighten it, you don't need to give long back and forth. Nice, clean, short communications work better, especially if it's not a positive.
Oh yeah, and then the individuals have particular communication styles, I imagine, with what they have. Well, now Matt, we've drawn to a close so quickly on our first segment, right? And we've got a lot more information that we're going to be talking about. We're talking about communication with individuals, and that's so important, just between age groups with kids sometimes. But when the people have mental health issues, you need to know a few tricks. We'll talk about that and so much more, so stay tuned.
Receiving help for Ella has been life-changing, and the best word for it is relief. I was the therapist, I was the aide, and I couldn't be the mom because emotionally you're just to your wits' end, you're trying to survive.
I provide care for the Harrises, specifically their daughter Ella. Respite care is extremely challenging, but the rewards that you receive from it are 100 times more than working with a child that doesn't have special needs. Once they get something, it's everything. It's a you celebrate. You don't just enjoy those moments. You celebrate every moment that you get, that you guided them to that next step.
Respite. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. Will you provide it? Call 800-224-6034 or visit respite.mt.gov.
It went from survival to enjoying life and being able to be a mom again.
Brought to you by the Montana Broadcasters and this station.
You've probably seen some big-name celebrities on your TV lately talking about all the Medicare benefits you're missing out on. But the insurance companies who are paying for these ads may be pushing benefits not available in Montana. Fortunately, help is available from a friendly state health insurance assistance program counselor who can help you sort it all out. It's free, and we screen everyone for eligibility regardless of your zip code. It's Montanans helping Montanans. Call today.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons. I'm your host Brian Lamore, and we're continuing our discussion about NAMI. These are mental health advocates throughout the state of Montana, actually the nation, and they're helping to advocate on mental health issues and educate individuals about what's going on out there. Rejoining us is Matt Kuntz. And Matt, you know, the legislative season is coming up. You know, politicians are running and everything, and you're an advocate and you're legislatively active with that. How are you legislatively active?
Yeah, so since I've been here in 2008, we probably passed 25 bills through the legislature. One of the bigger ones came before me, you know, so we passed the Montana Mental Health Parity Act in 1997. And then we rewrote it again in 2017 to make sure that insurance companies were appropriately covering mental health conditions. But we work all across the spectrum, from making sure mental health centers are funded, you know, trying to find access to this or that, or, you know, sometimes people with mental health conditions will end up involved with the criminal justice system. How do we make sure that the criminal justice system is able to effectively care for people, you know? And so it's really all across the board. We have 2 bills in Congress right now on veterans health care. And, you know, so it just is a lot of different angles, but we see these huge issues that need to be addressed, need to be worked on, or that just keep popping up. And where you go to fix them is at the legislature, or when it comes to veterans, we typically go through Congress.
So you bring awareness to the forefront, and you do that through experience with the members of your group and the questions that you receive. But now, you know, we have a big issue we hear in the news occasionally about veterans health care. How are you active with the veterans side?
Yeah, you know, I came in to NAMI after losing a family member after the war in Iraq. There was a member of the Montana National Guard, and we have done really big veterans bills in Congress. For example, one of the ones that we did was for veterans peer support, and it allowed the VA, or required the VA is probably a better term, to change their accounting so veterans peer support specialists hours counted. So they'd hired all these veterans peer support, and then they didn't count their hours for how they distributed the money. So all these veterans peer supporters would go away, and then they would have another wave, and we changed the accounting system. And you know, for the state of Montana at that time, it went from 2 veteran peer support specialists to 12. You know, it's just a massive increase in how many veterans are able to access peer services in Montana, but it also did that across the country. So we didn't, a lot of these things for veterans, we can't just fix them for Montana. You have to fix them nationwide if you're gonna fix them for Montana. So that's why we'll go to Congress for different things. Right now we have a bill for low-level blast injuries, and it's helping veterans get care who have been injured, you know, through, if they were a tanker or field artillery or special forces, being repeatedly exposed to blasts, and they end up sometimes with specific mental health conditions that require specific care. And so one of those big
things,
big things that can only be tackled top down.
Okay. Well, you know, we're talking about mental health, and there are 2 individuals, maybe a loved one that's affected by it, and of course the individual is having mental health issues. If they have a little crisis happening, what's the first place they should go to?
Yeah, if it is a legitimate life or death mental health crisis, call 988. If you're not sure, call 988. Like we train kids in high schools all around the state. Like we'll have them call 988 just to see what it's like. You know, like this is something that's going to happen to a lot of us. So call 988. They will walk you through a crisis, but eventually, you know, hopefully the family member and the person affected with a mental health condition will end up with their own needs and their own supports and their own ways of caring for each other. And we do have support groups for both. And they are designed differently to support different people in their positions on their journeys. And sometimes we'll have someone with a mental health condition that's also caring for a family member. It's like, well, you come for this group to care for your own depression. You come to this group to care for your family members' bipolar disorder. So.
Okay. Oh, that's great. Well, we're drawing to a close. Can you just kind of summarize quickly what NAMI's all about?
Yeah, we're here to improve the lives of people who live with mental health conditions and their families. Please check out our website, and we do have a number that people can call to figure out how to do more. So we would love to have more people involved.
That's great. Well, thank you, sir, for your service to Montana and the nation. We really appreciate it, and you're making a difference with NAMI also.
Thank you so much, Brian.
And for our viewers again, NAMI, that's a great resource for individuals, whether you're taking care of a person with a mental health issue or you're having one issue yourself. Thank you for joining us.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.